This happened back in 2015 during a hike I took in Arizona. The trail went through a short bit of desert, then an open medium-sized mountain that led to a canyon-like walkthrough at the top. Going on 8 to 10 hour hikes alone was my way of clearing my mind and getting away from the stress of everyday life. Anyways, the trail did not seem to be well known, as there was not any parking nearby, and the trailhead was really hard to find. It was hidden behind a line of thick bushes, and the path was faint and faded. I never really specifically looked for low-traffic trails, but I did not like running into people all the time on high-traffic trails either, so I was fine with the path being unknown. As I continued down, the trees began to look more and more dry, until most of them just seemed dead. Many had fallen over the trail, or had multiple thick branches falling off. The trail definitely had not been taken care of in the past few years. Making my way further down, the path began to lead through layers of thick, overgrown bushes. The path was distinct enough to know that I was still on the trail though, so I kept going. But that was when I heard a very distinct sound. A whistle coming from up the mountain. It was faint, but the whistling held a few notes before it stopped. I will admit it was creepy, and it made me pretty uncomfortable, but I figured someone else was on the trail. In that moment, that was the only thing that made sense. Another 20 minutes went by, and again I heard the same melodic whistle, but this time much closer and louder. I was a little more creeped out this time, but I was not about to leave the trail just because of some guy whistling nearby. I went up about a quarter mile further, keeping my pocket knife in my hand just in case. A tree had fallen right on the path though, and the thorny branches made it difficult to climb over, so I had to walk around it. I turned to the right and took a couple of steps before noticing a small valley, likely where a river used to flow. However, right in the middle was a small den made of large sticks. From the complexity of it, I knew it had to be man-made. I started putting the whistling and the den together, figuring someone might actually be living here. A bad feeling settled in, and leaving right away felt necessary. But just as I turned to leave the valley, that same whistle came from right behind me. My heart stopped out of fear, and I quickly turned to face the den. To my surprise, there was a goat standing just behind the valley, exactly where the whistle came from. Its eyes looked straight into me as it stood there motionless. I also could not help but notice how large it was compared to other goats I had seen around the area. Panic rushed through my mind, and the whole situation made no sense. After a few seconds, I managed to control myself and began walking back slowly, still facing it. But as I took one step back, it opened its mouth slightly and unnaturally. Then it let out the same whistle I had heard too many times already. Fear completely took over, and I sprinted down the mountain, falling multiple times over trees and rocks. I heard the whistle one more time, softly echoing down the mountain as I made it to the exit of the trail. I never told anyone about my encounter, because nobody would ever believe me, and it would only make me sound like a coward. But I had not heard about Skinwalker until recently, and when I started learning about them, a chilling thought formed. That might be the only explanation for what stood in that valley that day.